Right. So basically, it is absolutely confirmed unequivocally that they're lesbians in space, right? I know there's an inference in the show that they're a couple, kind of. It could be implied either way. It could be like, well, they're just a bunch of women hanging out together. Obviously, we know that's not the case, but just humor me on this. But it is now confirmed. It is 100% confirmed officially by StarWars.com that they're space lesbos. All right. So this is StarWars.com confirming that they were in a relationship. So the black lady and the horny lady in a relationship. So yeah, I thought this was quite comical. This is an absolute big old pile of crap of an article. I don't want to get too much into this, but it does explain some bits actually. So who can you blame for this? By the way, you think Leslie Headland? Yeah, she's massively to blame. But also, Nick, you'll love this, mate. Dave Filoni. Filoni Baloney. The man who was trained by George Lucas himself, the savior of Star Wars.
And who is married to a witch.
Well, apparently Dave Filoni very quickly became kind of a mentor of mine in terms of navigating what this part of the timeline would be like for both the Jedi and then other Force users. It was kind of this aha moment for me when he told me, not all witches are night sisters. So literally he was influential in getting this off the ground. So
yeah. No surprise, because he's the creative director over there. So everything kind of like has to go through him, not for the green light, but for his approval and for his input. And of course, considering his wife, that input is often going to be more witches.
Yeah. Yeah. So here we have it. Here's the confirmation, basically, that they are space lesers. It's a canon now. So they start talking about Turner Smith, who's the black lady. Here we have this woman who's mothering twins. So you have a symbolic representation of two different and sometimes opposing ways of thinking, blah, blah, blah. So she's a mother. She's being a mother. And talks about, emotional, sensitive, I'm leading this group, blah, blah, blah. And then we talk about this woman. So another element of the duality. So listen to how they word it. Another element of the duality can be found in Anastae's partner in parenthood, Mother Koril, a fierce Zabrak warrior whose views are often in conflict with those of her leader. It was very wonderful to get to play with Margarita, where not only are we relating to each other, we're also parenting together. There's nothing that's going to challenge your relationship like parenting. End sentence. So, okay, cool. So they're in a relationship. Great, space lasers. And in this particular circumstance, obviously the stakes are very much heightened because Mother Anastasia is also her leader, as well as her partner, as well as her co-parent. What happens when you disagree with the way that someone is leading the community? What kind of community? Lesbo, space witches community? How does that trickle down to then catalyze different moments that become explosive? It says here, I felt that when we were shooting it, so many of the topics we were exploring are really relatable. I get emotional. Coral means a lot to me. I love her so much. I felt her so deeply. Yeah, I'm sure. She's a mother and I was a new mum, blah, 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 blah. So there you go. Just as an FYI, space lesbians. And now, of course, articles like this are coming out. Good times. Lesbian space witches are now an official important. Yeah, they're important. Part of Star Wars canon, thanks to the Acolyte.
But they played such a big role in the prequels and the OG Star Wars. So yeah, definitely important.
Well, I personally think they're really important.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, in between scissoring and stuff, they're really important.
Well, and this kind of stuff really does affect Disney in a lot of different ways. I mean, the reception of this show and the reception of everything else. They've lost to over 20% in value, since the stockholders meeting. Yeah. That number is going to continue to dwindle down because I think it was. Correct me if I'm wrong, but wasn't it 126? Andre, do you guys remember?
Yeah, it was in that ballpark.
Yeah.
Can you go to the 5 year and the all tab?
Of course I can.
On that, because that's what really. Is that interesting. Yeah, under it. 5 year.
26.44% down.
Fantastic. That's brilliant.
And the all, if you quickly click on the all.
Of course.
So basically, you're a Disney shareholder right now. Better hope you came in early,
like in the 70s.
Yeah, or in the pre-2012s.
Yeah.
Yeah. If you came in at any point below what the price is now, sell it. That's my advice. I'm not a chartered financial analyst, so don't hold me legally accountable for that advice. But it's sound advice. Get out. The share price will only keep going down while these ideologically captured lunatics are running the asylum here. The price is going to keep tumbling, I would have thought. So if it's worth more than what you bought it for, get out now.
Yeah. It'll never make a new all-time high.
No, I had to double check to make sure I wasn't signed in. But yeah, no, I mean, I'm this is catastrophic, especially for somebody like Mexican Iron Man or somebody who bought in, around, the 2020 when we were headed to the peak, right?
Yeah.
That would be catastrophic.
I think at this point, I don't have the details, but I think basically if you came in, just from there, it looks like if you came in, around 2013, 2014, if you came in after, basically, if you have bought Disney shares in the last 10 years, you're screwed.
Yeah.
The only ones that have made any money right now are those that have bought more than a decade ago. So the really long-term ones. They're still on the plus side.
To be intellectually honest, and Bo, you can correct me if I'm wrong, but the markets across the board are down.
Well, sure, but I mean, sure. I mean, I would even say if I was a portfolio manager and I had a large amount of Disney, I would even consider that I'd bought in the last 10 years. I would consider cutting my losses on it. It's a sinking ship. It's a sinking ship, at least artistically. And that's the whole ball game as far as Disney is concerned. They're in the business, they're in the game of creating good art, right? And they're not doing it. They're failing to do it sort of catastrophically. So I just would not want any sort of exposure to Disney stock. I would just get out if I could. And if not, I seriously consider cutting my losses.
Are you sure? You don't think the space lesbians are going to save them?
Okay, let's get real for a moment, right? Nobody likes lesbians.
What?
Nobody. Have you ever met a gay bloke? Have you ever had a gay man as a friend? They don't like lesbians. They hate lesbians. They hate them the most, quite often. Not always, but quite often, right? And men, straight men, there's a funny Family Guy bit when they all walk into a lesbian bar, right? And they go, oh, and then they go, oh, and then they go, oh. Like that. Have you ever seen that? Because in everyone's mind, it's like lesbians. There might be really hot, like lipstick lesbians, and I'll get in a threesome with two hot lesbians, and then you realise, oh no, they hate us. They hate men. They wouldn't touch them and look at us in a million years. They're out. They're sort of our ideological enemies in all sorts of ways. No, only lesbians like or are interested in lesbian and lesbian things. No one else cares.
I think that's part of the conversation, Bo. I think the fact that they're catering to a 2% audience rather than the 95% audience that are, dudes.
This is true because they now have made Star Wars so inclusive that they've excluded everyone but lesbians.
I just want to clarify. This is a sentence about a multi-billion-dollar franchise. Star Wars series The Acolyte just made a major change to establish Star Wars lore by revealing that lesbian space witches created life from the Force. That's a sentence describing a multi-billion-dollar franchise. Lesbian space witches.
Yeah.
But they had great chanting, dude.
That's fucking awful chanting. It was horrendous.
It was pretty horrendous. Yeah, I agree. Be careful before checking. I would advise against checking out any chanting because not Culture, but Valiant Renegade did that in History and yesterday, and that was taken down by Disney.
Yeah, we're not doing that. But it's as I say here, Anasea explains that she used the Force to bring life to 2 embryos carried by a fellow Force-sensitive witch mother, Coril. Those embryos grew up to be May and Osha. It's like, oh, and did we mention that Anasea and Coril are a couple? They aren't just space witches; they're lesbian space witches. We love to see it, especially given the increasingly virulent right-wing arguments against surrogacy for same-sex couples.
Yeah,
There
they
is a
love to see
justifiable
it.
statistical argument against that, actually, to be fair. So they can shut up.
I wonder if they're going to love seeing Star Wars going down the tubes because of it.
Yeah.
Or if they will settle for, hey, representation, and never mind the bit about, oh, everything went to hell because of that representation.
Oh no, they have to. This is the thing that people don't understand, is that you like, we're in a capitalist society. You can't keep forcing this stuff when there's no audience for it. You will just absolutely go up in flames.
Yeah.
Like, we're seeing that in real time. Like, we've just looked at the stock, for God's sake. We keep seeing this. What have you shared here? Culture. What's that?
Oh, this is Dave Filoni's wife.
Oh,
Yeah.
she's a fucking gross looking pig.
Yeah,
isn't
well,
she?
look at her coffee mug.
Yeah.
My
Drink
God,
coffee,
she looks like a sack of potatoes that's been beaten with a spade. Anyway, so but we live in a capitalist society. You can't, if your core audience don't want to watch this stuff, it doesn't matter whether you think they're bigots or not. It doesn't matter, because the capitalism wins. That is our society. You have to cater to them. You literally have to cater to them, whether you like it or not. You have to cater to those people that you think are bigots, because that's the system that we're in.
Yeah,
and this kind of.
And I wanted to bring up one more point just to that, Nate. Two things. One, Disney came out last week after the first 2 episodes talking about the 4.8 million views. Like, it's the best thing on Disney Plus, the best series, blah blah blah. Which were terrible numbers when you got 150 million subscriber base. You know, brings it down to about 3%. And then on top of that, out of that 4 million plus whatever viewers, how many people actually liked it? So you're looking at even a smaller percentage of that. I mean, let's just be generous and just cut it in half, because I would argue that's probably less than half of that actually liked it. But let's just say, for argument's sake, we'll just cut it in half. You know, that's like 1.5% of their subscriber base actually even like this show. You cannot keep spending this kind of money on 1.5% of your subscriber base. It makes zero sense. This is what they spent on this is what, Dune 2 spent.
There's this thing. Sorry, Anton.
No, that was basically my point. I had one other one, but I was talking about that and it left me. When it comes back, it'll come back and I'll bring it back up.
Sorry. If the general population is 2% lesbian, that still doesn't mean lesbians are going to like and watch this. There's loads of things. Again, it's just a true. It's just a true. Yep. It's just a true thing, right? There's certain things that women do not like, and not all women. You will find exceptions to the rule. I'm not saying every single woman. Certain things like Formula One or Rallycross. I've never. They don't like it. As a general rule, you might find 1 or 2 exceptions. As a general rule, women don't like racing, right?
Yeah.
They're not interested. They don't like Star Wars. As a general rule, there's some exceptions, but as a general rule, the franchise of sort of grand space operas that involve fighting, it's not for women.
Sci-fi as well, to be fair.
In general, sci-fi, in general, right? Yeah. So, and as Nate says, we live in a capitalist society. If there's not a market for your product, you will lose money. It's as simple as that. All right. And so what Disney are doing is running themselves into the ground. I wonder if Culture, could you put up that picture again of Filoni's wife? You still got that? You still got that?
I think Culture might have buggered off.
Well, it said on one side it said abortion is healthcare. So, pro baby killer, nice. And then on her mug it said something about Satan, right? And yeah, she did look like
Satan or something like that.
She did look like £10 of shit in a £5 bag. What a horrible human being. I think it was it Nick, I think, said right near the beginning something about that it's satanic. Yeah, again, very deliberately. Yeah, I'm not, it's not conspiracy theory. I'm not going out on some crazy tangent. I'm not some like born again Christian or anything like that. It is satanic to force this on people. It really is. It is the work of the devil. And it's sort of not funny. It's beyond exasperating. It is disgusting. I used that word at the beginning deliberately. I find it disgusting. Okay.
Yeah. No, I can't argue with any of that. We've got some super chats about this as well. So, Mr. D super chat $5 says the swirl symbol on the witch's forehead looks the same as the lollipop in the Sweet Baby Inc logo. Coincidence? I do actually think that is just coincidence, buddy. Mr. Luba Luba super chatted $5.37 and says, I've had jobs that have paid less than $15 an hour, and I've been threatened with firing for the tiniest of mistakes. These activists have cost Disney hundreds of millions of dollars, and they still have their jobs. They might even get promotions. Billions of dollars. The market value that's gone down. You know, I mean, if you're looking at what, say, I mean, again, Nelson Peltz made $2 billion. So, yeah, it's not hundreds of millions, it's billions. It's billions of dollars that they've been losing. You know, since they like peak and stuff like that, it's a lot of cash that's gone. Fernandez T super chats $5 says, I'm from LA, so I'm a liberal douche. All right, cheers for admitting it. So I don't care about their gay agenda, but anyone else feel they accidentally pointed out that government Jedi coming in to force children to become something they don't want to be, similar to kids transitioning?
Well, another thing as well. I mean, the Jedi, they were portrayed as child protective services who who dared to come in like, oh, we're like, so we hear that your child has powers, your child might be gay, or your child might be this or that, and you're homeschooling them. Well, that's our job to do. So that's definitely a theme there. Now, who knows exactly what is meant in the subtext there, because this is kind of like Leslie Headland's self-therapy show. This is her worldview. I don't know exactly what she feels about child protective services, but I'm guessing based on that they've been made the Jedi here, nothing too good.
Yeah, that's I can see that.
Well, again, to get a little, just say very quickly on that. Unfortunately, not maybe it isn't unfortunate. The nature of being a lifelong homosexual is that you will remain childless unless you adopt. So
you are a
hard baked,
or unless you use surrogates like they did.
Yeah,
sorry to interrupt, but
no, sure. Unless you go surrogate, adopt, or there's of course immaculate conception. You know, that's always a possibility. You're going to be childless if you're a lifelong homosexual. Now, again, I've had some gay friends during my lifetime and worked with some and stuff, and it does play on their psyche. You can imagine it would. Because being gay doesn't necessarily mean you don't want children. You might want children, but be super gay. Then you're going to be in an unhappy place. You're going to have this thing on your shoulder your whole life, and it affects women worse than it does men. Most women, regardless of their sexuality, get to a certain point in their life, usually late 20s, early 30s, and they're like, if they haven't had children yet, they're desperate for a child. And if you find yourself a committed lesbian, it's your whole personality, then you've got massive cognitive dissonance and unhappiness that you're not going to have any children. It's sad, and I guess Leslie Headland is exploring these things. I don't know, but I don't want any part of it. I don't want any part of it. I'm not interested. That's your baggage.
Yeah,
leave me alone. Leave me out of it.
B Pats has super chatted $10 and says they 5,986 of Pride Month. It is the festival of the Acolyte, singing, scissoring, cringing. A circle of women surrounds an effigy of Kathleen Kennedy. I fall to my knees and pound the wet earth. You damn dirty lesbians, you've ruined it all.
Yeah, it's not coincidence that this gay show dropped during Pride Month.
Oh no, absolutely not, absolutely not. And last but not least, we got one from Dragon Reborn for $5. Says, I'm just waiting for the prawn parody of this shit show, the Acolyte. The acting and storytelling will be much better, and prawn actresses will be more pleasing to the eyes. I mean, you're not wrong, to be fair.